that if Russia or Belarus, or a proxy of Russia, explodes a nuclear device inside of Ukraine to stop the counteroffensive or to try to break the will of the Ukrainian people, such an attack should be considered an attack on NATO itself. We're of the belief that a nuclear weapon unleashed in Ukraine would irradiate large portions of Europe where we have NATO allies. The counteroffensive is moving slowly but steadily. I applaud President Biden for putting on the table that the threat of Putin using a nuclear weapon in Ukraine is real. And our message is to those around Putin that if you do this, if you follow his order, if he ever gives it, you can expect a massive response from NATO, and you will be at war with NATO.
This is my video update from Larnaca, Cyprus on this Friday morning, June 23rd. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with the escalation in Ukraine. And we had neocons, Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal. Lindsey Graham, a Republican neocon, Blumenthal, a Democrat neocon. I think Blumenthal is from Connecticut, if my memory serves me correct. Graham is senator from South Carolina. Anyway, these neocons, they introduced a resolution yesterday where they are saying that a nuclear strike on Ukraine should be considered an attack on NATO. Quote, I applaud President Biden for saying bluntly that the threat of Putin using nuclear weapons in Ukraine is real. And here's what we want to say to Putin's entourage. If you do this, if you follow this order, if he gives such an order at all, then you should expect a massive response from NATO, and you will be at war with NATO. The document of the senators is advisory in nature. The White House is not obliged to execute it. Moreover, Vladimir Putin has repeatedly said that the Russian Federation does not plan to use nuclear weapons. So I've been talking now for the past couple of days about how the neocons, the collective West, the Zelensky regime, one of their few pathways to, I won't even say to victory in this conflict, to a stalemate at this point, given the fact that the counteroffensive has failed miserably, is for some sort of provocation or false flag. And the Zelensky regime, Zelensky himself, the android AI robot known as Budanov, they have been talking about the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and how the Russians are going to create some sort of an event which will lead to some sort of meltdown in the ZNPP, or some sort of sabotage event at the ZNPP in order to create some sort of nuclear meltdown. I believe Budanov said that the Russians have wired the ZNPP with explosives so as to blow it up. And Zelensky, he was on BBC. Was it on BBC? No, he was on NBC. And he gave out a couple of statements on his, he read out a couple of statements on his nightly Instagram, TikTok videos where he said that Russia is looking to blow up the ZNPP and create a nuclear catastrophe because Russia's losing so bad and stuff like that. Look, the collective West and the neocons and the Zelensky regime, one of the ways to draw NATO into this conflict is crystal clear. You need to create a big false flag event. The scale of Nord Stream pipeline sabotage, and the ZNPP is there. That is what they are thinking about. That is what they are probably targeting. Some sort of event at the ZNPP, blame it on Russia. The neocons now, they've come out with this resolution where they're going to, if something like this happens, then they put the pressure on the Biden White House to get NATO involved. That's what this resolution does. If there's any type of nuclear event that is triggered in Ukraine, then NATO is being pushed by the neocons to go to war with Russia, and the Biden White House is being pushed by the neocons to go to war with Russia. So that's one of the ways that that they're setting things up in order to escalate this and in order to get NATO involved in this conflict, and to perhaps create some sort of conditions where the conflict in Ukraine reached a stalemate. Because right now the Russians are they're destroying everything that Ukraine is throwing at this counteroffensive, or at the direction of the counteroffensive, which right now is the Zaporizhzhia direction. We had more fighting there last night and this morning as well. The Ukraine military, they moved in the direction of Zaporizhzhia about 150 or 200 meters before the Russians started to annihilate the Ukrainian forces that moved in the Zaporizhzhia direction in an area known as, or an area towards Rabotino. This is still the gray zone area, by the way. They still haven't reached the first line of defenses. But they made some progress, or at least the Russians let them make some progress, and then it was just, from what I understand, the Russians just annihilated all of the equipment and the forces that were moving in this direction. As a matter of fact, the Russian sources, the war correspondents, they claim, this is from the Russian side of things, they claim that Ukraine has now resorted to human wave tactics. This is what the Russian war correspondents are saying. But the way that you can create the dynamics to get NATO involved and to create a stalemate is the ZNPP. They're thinking about it, and this is no coincidence that we're seeing the neocons coming out with this resolution saying that any type of nuclear incident that's triggered in Ukraine, well, then NATO is going to get involved. That's basically what Lindsey Graham and Blumenthal have introduced. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm sure that the Russians are 5 steps ahead and they understand everything that's going on. But just be aware that one of the ways to really escalate this war and to create a NATO versus Russia, not a proxy NATO versus Russia, but NATO, United States. And when we talk about NATO, we mean the United States versus Russia event is the ZNPP. Another way that they're working it is via the F-16s. F-16s taking off from Romania and daring Putin to hit NATO territory, to hit airfields in Romania. That's another dynamic that they're using, another scenario that the neocons are using in order to try and get NATO involved in this conflict. Real sinister stuff. Real sinister stuff. So that's what's happening with the ZNPP, Lindsey Graham, Blumenthal, the neocons, and how they're trying to drag the entire collective West into a full-on war with Russia. We had some more comments from Putin from this military event that he attended at the Kremlin the other day. I talked about this in my video yesterday, and we have some more quotes from Putin, this time with regards to how Russia is ready for a full-on war with NATO, which essentially means a nuclear conflict. If NATO goes to war with Russia, the United States goes to war with Russia, then we're talking about escalation towards a nuclear conflict. Well, Putin, he said the other day at this event for cadets at the Kremlin, and this is translated by TASS, the Russian news agency TASS. He said that about half of the units of Russia's strategic missile force have been equipped with the latest Yars missile systems and are being rearmed with modern avant-garde warheads. He said, and I quote, "In light of the new challenges and invaluable experience of the special military operation, we will continue to improve the armed forces in every way possible." Putin added that the most important task here was to develop the nuclear triad as the key guarantee of Russia's military security and global stability. Putin announced that the new Sarmat missile launchers would enter duty soon. In the near future, the first launchers of the Sarmat complex with the new heavy missile will be put on combat duty. The arsenals of aviation and naval components of strategic nuclear forces are being replenished in strict accordance with the timetable, Putin emphasized. Russia's nuclear triad allows for effective and guaranteed strategic deterrence and maintains the global balance of power. So the Sarmat is Russia's new super heavy intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, according to state media, and has and is about to be deployed. This is according to TASS news agency. Putin announced the new Sarmat ICBM will soon be ready for deployment. The Sarmat ICBM weighs 100 tons. For comparison, the US-made LGM-30 Minuteman is 35 tons with a range of 18,000 kilometers or 11,184 miles. This allows it to carry around 15 warheads. So that's Putin's response to the neocon escalation and the push for a US war with Russia. Putin is at an event for cadets, but this statement is directed towards the US. That's what's going on here. So speaking about the US, we have to talk about Joe Bidenopolis and Hunter, the princely son. Isn't that what Tucker Carlson calls Hunter Biden? The prince of a son from the prince of a son of Joe Biden. Well, we have some bombshell reports from two IRS whistleblowers, which reveal that Joe Biden's DOJ buried evidence of Hunter Biden's tax crime and stopped U.S. Attorney David Weiss from bringing charges against Hunter in two different jurisdictions last year. This is according to Zero Hedge. IRS whistleblowers released new bombshell evidence against Biden, the DOJ, and AG Garland. So basically, what is going on here is that the Biden DOJ, along with the IRS, they were protecting Hunter Biden. They knew about all of the tax fraud, all of the corruption. They knew about all of it. And they knew about this last year, but they made sure that any investigations into Hunter Biden were squashed. And so they were protecting Hunter. The Biden DOJ and the IRS were protecting Hunter, according to these whistleblowers. Pretty incredible stuff how the entire permanent state protects Biden and Hunter Biden. I have never in my life seen a president so protected than Biden and his entire family. Not even Obama received this much protection from the permanent state. They must really, really love Biden because they're willing to destroy the entire United States of America, the entire U.S. Constitution, in order to protect this one man and his family. It's I don't know how to explain it other than the Biden family must have been making a lot of people a lot of money. I don't know. Maybe the Ukraine grift that Biden stumbled across when Obama appointed him as the president of Ukraine, the de facto president of Ukraine after the coup d'état. Maybe Biden stumbled upon so much money in the Ukraine grift in 2014 that the permanent state, they said, we're going to protect this guy for as long as it takes because he is delivering us so much money that we have to keep this guy and his family in power. I don't know. I can't explain it. The level of protection that the Biden family receives. It's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible. And then the other day we had the whole Adam Schiff thing, and the House of Representatives, they did indeed punish Adam Schiff, if you want to call it punishment. I guess from a historical perspective, censoring Adam Schiff is punishment. Doesn't really affect his position in the House or his run. Well, maybe it'll affect his run as senator. I doubt it. I think he'll still become senator for California, but I think he was like the 25th or the 26th member of Congress who has been censored. So you had that happen as well the other day, and Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff was the House member dumb enough to actually. What did he do? He actually read parts of the Steele dossier into the congressional record. You have to be a real bonehead to read the Steele dossier into the congressional record, man. I mean, come on, man. Come on. At a minimum, Adam Schiff deserves to be censored. I mean, if Adam Schiff was, I was going to say, if he was kind of an honest guy, we know he's not, but I don't know. If he was a realist, let's say, if Adam Schiff was a realist, he at least would have come out and said, yeah, okay, I read the Steele dossier into congressional record. I guess a censure is the least of what you can give me. The Steele dossier, he actually read it into the congressional record. And this guy's going to be a senator for California. God help us. God help us. Oh, man. So we have all of this corruption in the United States. We had Durham testifying, and he basically said that yeah, Hillary Clinton, she made up the whole Trump-Russia collusion in order to distract away from the Clinton Foundation and all the stuff that Hillary Clinton was up to, and she created the whole Trump-Russia BS. Okay, no surprise there. That was Durham's testimony. We have Adam Schiff and what happened with him, and we have this latest revelation from these whistleblowers about Hunter and his tax fraud or tax evasion, alleged tax fraud or tax evasion. Well, he pleaded guilty, so I guess we can say now that he did commit tax fraud, and he got a slap on the wrist for that. But now we know that the DOJ and the IRS, they were protecting Hunter and protecting Biden as well. We have like text messages of Biden, WhatsApp messages of Hunter and Joe Biden threatening business partners I don't even know. I don't even know the story. Threatening them about dealings with China and stuff like that. Let me see if I have this tweet saved. Yeah, here we go. From Clay Travis. Here is the alleged WhatsApp message from Hunter Biden to his Chinese business associate making threats while he is sitting next to his dad, Joe Biden. What does this WhatsApp message say? Let me see if I can make this out. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows in my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father, the big guy. So we have these WhatsApp messages, allegedly. We have these WhatsApp messages. And didn't Biden say that he has no idea what his son is up to? He's not involved in any of the business dealings of his son. And now we have a WhatsApp message saying that allegedly from Hunter Biden saying that he's sitting next to his dad and they have some dealings with Chinese business officials. And if you don't follow our direction or do as you're told, well, we're going to destroy you. I don't even know, man. This whole thing is crazy. The level of corruption, absolutely off the charts. Anyway, we have all of this corruption being revealed over the last week. But what's the big story? The big story is this Titan submarine. And the scandal in all of this is that, according to, I believe, the Wall Street Journal, the U.S. Navy, is it? Or the Pentagon? I think it's the U.S. Navy. They knew that the five individuals, the five multimillionaires and billionaires in this submarine were dead. Like by Sunday, they knew that this thing was over, that there was no way that these people were going to survive. But they kept the story running, according to the Wall Street Journal, in order to distract away from Hunter and Joe and WhatsApp messages and Durham and Schiff and all of these things. And it worked. And it worked because everyone was absolutely fixated, mesmerized by the Titan submarine that all of these multi-millionaire and billionaires paid $250,000 to crawl inside of. Like, this was a Coke can. It's like a tin can. And they all crawled inside this tin can, which was controlled by like a Game Boy remote control. And they went down to see the Titanic wreckage. When I read about this story, I was like, okay, this sub must be a pretty high tech submarine. I mean, for billionaires to spend money to get in this thing and then to go down and see the wreckage of the Titanic, this thing must be some awesome tech. And then I saw a photo of it and I was like, this is crazy, man. Who would pay money to get inside of this Coke can and go underwater, however many miles, something like 3 or 4 miles underwater to see the Titanic wreckage? Who would actually pay $250,000 to get into this thing? I mean, it was like the size of a van. It was even smaller than like a van, and it was just as low tech as you could get. At least that's how I saw it from the photos and the videos I saw from this Titan submarine. But these 5 people, they paid money to get into this thing. I mean, I don't know, man. I feel bad for the people that lost their lives. It's a horrible thing, but why would you pay money to get into this sub? If you can even call it a sub. I wouldn't even call the thing a submarine. So yeah, that was used as a distraction from all of the corruption. And you know, the Adam Schiff. No, not the Adam Schiff. I was thinking about when Adam Schiff appeared on Tucker Carlson. I don't know if you guys remember that. Way back when Tucker Carlson first started his show on Fox, like I think the first year, and he was having guests from the U.S. Congress, like Lindsey Graham and Adam Schiff. and they were going on Tucker's show because they thought that Tucker was going to be friendly to them. I just remember when Adam Schiff was on the show, Tucker demolished him, and Adam Schiff was like, "You're a Putin agent," and Tucker was like, "Dude, dude, shut up, dude. you're an idiot." That's basically what Tucker called him. Look it up on YouTube or Twitter. It's classic, that Adam Schiff appearance on Tucker. Anyway, I was going to say that the Durham testimony, where he basically said that Hillary Clinton made up the whole Trump-Russia thing. Big surprise there. That was so sinister of Hillary and her team to make that up, and that's one of the narratives that has pushed us to this conflict in Ukraine, and is pushing us towards a U.S.-Russia war. Is that whole Trump-Russia collusion BS that Hillary made up? The Minsk agreements, okay, NATO expansion, the Minsk agreements, Russia asking for a new security architecture in Europe, Ukraine constantly attacking the Donbass, the Ukraine forces being built up in Donbass in preparation for something to happen, and Zelensky running around the Munich Security Conference saying that he's going to get into NATO and that the EU and the United States are going to give him nuclear weapons. All of these things absolutely contributed to where we are today, but another big factor which contributed to where we are today is the whole Trump-Russia thing that Hillary Clinton made up. So I just wanted to say that. A very, very sinister and dangerous narrative from Hillary Clinton, but what else can you expect from Hillary Clinton and her Clinton clan? So what else do I have here bookmarked that we can talk about? Covered quite a lot of ground. So a lot of people in the comments from yesterday were talking about the general mobilization documents that started floating around the interwebs yesterday from Ukraine, and a lot of commenters were wondering if these are real. It looks like these mobilization documents are absolutely real, these general mobilization documents. And RT reported that residents of the Obolonsky district in the Ukrainian capital who are eligible for mobilization must report to the military recruitment offices within 10 days, even if they do not receive a personal notice. The local draft commissariat said on Thursday the document signed by Commissar Alexei Privala was posted on social media as well as reprinted by Ukrainian newspaper Strana. Responding to the outlet's inquiry, Privala's office claimed the order was nothing new and that such notices were being posted regularly. What is precedent in the district, however, is the blanket call-up of all draftees. The western Ukrainian city of Ivano-Frankovsk has already enacted the same measure. Their orders dated June 13 also refer to the mobilization of vehicles and forbid residents from moving without the explicit permission of the draft commissariat. Ivano-Frankovsk notice set a 10-day deadline for all men subject to the draft notice to report for service. Ukraine's Chernigov region reported on Wednesday that it was struggling to meet its mobilization quota. More than 20,000 people have not reported following their summons. Regional draft commissar Oleg Goncharuk has admitted. So, Lindsey Graham's wish, his goal to the last Ukrainian is trying to be fulfilled by the Zelensky government. So those general mobilization documents appear to be legit. This is according to reporting from RT. We have the UK Foreign Minister, Mr. Cleverly. He is saying that the UK is very, very supportive of fast-tracking NATO's application, Ukraine's application to join NATO. He says that a whole bunch of other countries are also very supportive of some sort of fast track. Whatever. whatever. Fast tracking Ukraine into NATO is just another way for Russia to most certainly take all of Ukraine, or create the conditions so that there is no Ukraine to fast track. I mean, all of this talk about fast tracking Ukraine into NATO, in my opinion, is just, it's reckless, it's sinister, it's despicable, and the only thing that it guarantees is that it guarantees that Ukraine will cease to exist, because we already know that Russia is never going to allow Ukraine in any shape or form be a part of NATO. So that's Cleverly's statement from the other day. And I have one more story, a pre-clown world, before we get into our main clown world. And this is coming from Kaluba, the foreign minister of Ukraine. And he's pushing a new narrative about the counter-offensive. Got the plane taking off. So the failed counteroffensive, which was supposed to be a 3 to 5 day sprint, which was going to devastate the Russian military, force the Russian military into retreat, create panic in the Russian military ranks, reach the Sea of Azov, and split apart Russian forces, split the land bridge, cut off supply lines, and then start attacking Crimea. This was going to be a 3 to 5 day thing. Obviously, it's not a 3 to 5 day thing. This has been a complete disaster, a complete debacle. And then we had the narrative from Austin and Milley, which was that this is not a sprint anymore, everybody. This is a marathon, and this is going to be a slow burn, a slow grind, according to Milley and Austin. That's the new narrative. And Macron also talked about this as well. Macron said that it's going to take time, this counteroffensive. So that was the narrative that that they were trying to push out there in order to cover up the catastrophe that is the big counteroffensive that offends me and offends you and offends everybody that is eating at Chalmers Restaurant, which is, by the way, perhaps the best seafood in Cyprus, and definitely in Larnaca, Chalmers Restaurant. And now we have a new narrative to explain the failure that is the big counteroffensive, and it's coming from the foreign minister Kaluba. This is what he said. Kaluba said that Washington promised Kiev about 30 Abrams tanks back in January, and he was speaking to a Ukraine TV channel, and he was asked whether they might arrive in time for the current operation. Kaluba said Ukrainians should look to the future instead, and I quote, "There is hope, but one should not think only in terms of this counteroffensive," he said. "You should not look at this counteroffensive as the last and decisive one. There will be so many offensives, as many as is needed to expel Russia from our territory. The Abrams is a much more complex design than the German-made Leopards that Ukraine was provided in the spring," Kaluba added. So what Kaluba told this broadcaster is that the counteroffensive was not going to be a big shock and awe sprint. The counteroffensive is no longer a marathon. What the counteroffensive is a lot of mini counteroffensives. It's going to be mini counteroffensives, which will lead to the expulsion of Russia and the downfall of the Putin regime, according to Kaluba. Those are Kaluba's statements. So we've moved from a 5-day sprint to the Sea of Azov to a long, drawn-out marathon, and now we have a lot of little counteroffensives. That's the new narrative. Little offensives. This is according to Kaluba. And 30 Abrams tanks, like 30 Abrams tanks are going to make the difference. Of course they're not. So let's do a clown world here and we'll wrap up this video. And this clown world is from Zelensky. He is now banning books. He is banning Russian books. President Zelensky announced on Thursday that he had signed a law making it illegal to import and distribute Russian and Belarusian publishing products in Ukraine. However, some Ukrainian officials have pointed out that the step could hinder Kiev's plans to join the EU. The move comes after Ukrainian citizens registered an online petition on the official presidential website asking for the ban back in May. The petition reached the 25,000 vote threshold required for it to be formally considered by the head of state. The author of the petition noted that the Ukrainian parliament had already approved the law on June 19, 2022, but that Zelensky had never signed the bill. As a result, Russian books continue to be sold in Ukraine, which undermines the information security of the state and economic foundations of the Ukrainian book publishing, according to the petition. I consider the law to be correct, Zelensky stated in a Telegram post announcing that he had finally signed the legislation. I consider the law to be correct. There you have it. We're gonna ban books. No more Russian and Belarusian books. So the concern is that this is going to hamper Ukraine's entrance into the EU. No, it's not. No, this is going to help Ukraine's entry into the European Union. Banning books, that's pretty much in line with the European Union. Yeah, I think that pretty much fulfills EU guidelines for entrance into the organization. Of course, the EU is going to be very happy that that Ukraine is banning books, Russian books specifically. Absolutely, absolutely, it's going to help them. Ursula von der Leyen is going to be very, very happy. Russia's book business is in tatters. In tatters, I tell you. Russian books are in tatters. Dostoevsky, tatters. Tolstoy, tatters. Oh boy, all right, that's the video, everyone. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, and Rockfin, and Rumble. Don't forget Rumble. And go to the Duran shop, 10% off. Free Assange, free Gonzalo, free Pablo Gonzalez, who is being held by the Polish authorities because he's a Russian journalist. That's it. Because he's not even a Russian journalist. He's a Spanish journalist who was reporting from the Donbass. And so Poland decided to arrest him. And why they're holding him, who knows? But EU values. Banning books and arresting journalists. EU values. So the Duran shop, 10% off. Use the code. Good day. Take care.